Hello, and welcome back to Sharing a Chapter a Day. This is Do-Ra-Mi, and today I will be reading Chapter 18 of Engagement in Peril by Dara Odoe. Chapter 18 is titled About Sex. While living in the projects, Mom decided to rent out one of our rooms in our 3-bedroom apartment to a young married couple, a Cambodian couple. They had the room at the top of the concrete stair, and my room was right next to theirs. And this couple, well, they would always be fucking and having sex while everyone is sound asleep. I sometimes put my ear to the wall and listened to them, eavesdropping on them, on their fuckfest throughout the night. The couple's wife was cute. She had long brunette hair with a firm body. But I didn't like it when she smoked. Her lips seemed to always be tarnished with blackness, and her breath seemed to be reek of foul odor. One time, while everyone else was out on the house, and I was home alone, I stuck into the young couple's room and ransacked their belongings and found adult magazines and video left lying around everywhere. From then on, I would often sneak into their room and watch porn when they were away at work or something. I remember the first adult video I saw in their room, although I can't seem to remember the title of the disc, the tape, but I remember the first scene. It started with a natural busty brunette in tights and headband, and she was jogging along a beach path when all of a sudden a limousine pulls up and invited her in, and the sexual encounter ensues while the limousine was moving. This was where Dara began to discover his personal body space and self. It is here that he began to touch himself in those arousing, amusing places, says the sinful Christian bastard who is writing this piece. And with that, my newfound hormones surging and sexual curiosity had stricken me. One night I had to deliver some warm food that Mom had made for my sister, and on my way to her place several apartments down the road, I went to the back of a door and delivered the food. On my way back, I noticed that her next door neighbor doors was open and only the mesh screen door was locked and closed, and it seemed that no one was home. While I had my face in front of the back door, peeping in like a peeping Tom, a Hispanic man came running at me, yelling and ranting in his native tongue. From the sudden outburst, I panicked and dashed off like lightning. From my fright of being caught, I ran several blocks trying to get away from my pursuer, passing my apartment and hiding in some bushes and shrub nearby. While there, I silently prayed to God to help me through this sticky situation that my young, curious mind had gotten me into. And luckily, it was nighttime and very dark where I was hiding. The overzealous man dashed and passed me, and I snuck frighteningly back home and never told Mom what had just happened to me while I was being a peeping Tom minutes earlier. Once in the house, I dashed upstairs to the bedroom, to the bathroom, washed my face, and spent the rest of the night in my room, trying to relax my panicky heart and mind. The Asian couple that was living with us was pretty cool. They paid their rent on time and shared their time and friendship with us. They even drove my mother, several neighbors, and I to Al's farm and livestock on the outskirts of town at an open grassy area to pick vegetables and catch live chicken. Back then, the husband had a 280ZX then, and all 7 of us was crammed into his car that seats only 5. We all bunched up in there, I being on the floor while riding the less than an hour drive. We all made it to the farm and picked plenty of corns and vegetables, bought some watermelon, vegetable, and also caught several live chicken for supper that evening. I had the tiresome task of chasing the 2-legged speedster around the chicken pen and getting them into a corner, while the rest of the onlookers snatched them up and put them in bags for purchase. The couple only lived with us for about a year or so before they moved away to a different state, because the husband had found a new job, a new better paying job, of course. We had a nice barbecue celebration for them before they left. My uncle and several other people came to say their piece and said goodbye and wished them luck as well. Little did I know then that shortly after, my family and I also moved and started anew elsewhere. Once again, we moved and relocated to a new place. It has become a norm to me and my sibling now. Stay in a place for a year or less, and off to somewhere else we be. My family had our shares of troubles. At times, my parents would argue over various things, and sometimes my stepfather would beat my mom. He was physically abusive upon my mother then, and I was too young to defend her. Mother often told us to stay out of it, and because she didn't want him to hurt us as well. So it's better that she took the abuse instead of her beloved children getting beat on. Mother was special that way. She was always looking out for her children. To think that mother has already gone so much to the atrocity of the Khmer Rouge, she still holds the faith of protecting her children. Mom always kept and hid her bit bruises and scars from her friends and neighbors. At some point during my young teen life, several times, mother tried to commit suicide. She had overdosed with various over-the-counter pills and had to be taken to the hospital by the city's ambulance to have her stomach pumped. Mother was having some mental problem as well because of my stepfather's abusiveness. And as time passed, she seemed to be getting better, and his abuse against my mother had lessened. Little did I know that one day I would have to stand up to him and defend my mother from his abusiveness. And little did I know that would change after I had stood up to him. When I was a mere boy of 13 years old, I had finally defended my mother from the abuser. How did this come about? I remember a time during one afternoon my stepfather was upset for some reason and took out his frustration and anger against my mother. He smacked her around, hitting her in the face and kicked her on the sides and back. From her scream and his yelling, I finally got tired of it, and finally something lit up inside of me. I stormed out of my room and down the hallway to the living room and snapped at him to stop hitting and abusing my mother. He snapped back and came at me when my mother stepped in between us. He then manhandled and pushed her aside and grabbed a hold of me. I held him back, pulled his hair, and punched at him. He then picked me up and threw me against the wall. After a quick scuffle, we both were stopped by my mother. After I had stood up to him, my so-called stepfather stopped abusing my mother when I was around. From then on, things began to get better for my mother and siblings. Before leaving for basic with the United States Navy, I reminded him about taking good care of my mother and my sibling, to be fair and to be understanding to them all. That man and my mother are no longer together, but he seems calmer and is more focused on taking care of his daughters and helping out my mother with raising them, my two younger sisters, Molly and Tavy. He seems to have changed his way now since he has gotten older and become a better man. He and I are now talking like normal people. I call him Dad, and he respects me for my writing and the way of thinking. We have no animosity for each other anymore, and I see that he has changed his way for the better. My mother is much happier now being single and being on her own, and after all, she is my courageous mother. Thank you for listening. This is the end of Chapter 18. Be on the lookout for Chapter 19, titled Middle School Urges. Until next time, this is Do, Ra, Mi, and I'll see you later. Thank you.